Okay, these are the texts that I go through. And at first, I was wondering what was going on. Why are these people doing these unbelievable things? And if they're deliberately trying to cause a nervous breakdown. There's a lot of good people involved in the government that have committed a lot of crimes. And it's deliberate schemes to make me appear mentally ill. That's why a lot of the things I can't talk about, I just had to disregard it because it just seems incredible and people would not believe it. I discussed going in the stores where staff would deliberately take things off the shelf. I just figured that people wouldn't believe me because it started after I got into this chaos. I would need certain things and I would go to multiple stores and they would not have them. And in all my life, I had never seen anything so unusual. And a couple times I actually found the products hid. And on the hours I need, it would be all they would stock, and it was like they were stocking, but they would be in the way. So I just had to stop talking about those things because I just don't think people would believe the amount of a power that's abused in this situation. So here, these are multiple texts that I get. Take your meds, Kiana. Seriously, take your meds. Your daughter won't talk to you. You have no stalker. It's you. You need help because you're severely mentally unstable. Stop lying and take your meds. This is a form of narcissistic abuse, and can you imagine how toxic it is if you can abuse government resources in your abuse? So when I call, they put me on hold, transfer me around, and play games knowing that they're deliberately not investigating any of my reports out of corruption, knowing deliberately that they have schemed with multiple different parties to sabotage my rights as a parent, not only with my daughter, but my son too. Knowing full blown well that on when I went out moving on with my life, the police department has been stalking me on situations and then shine their lights on us. And it was obvious what was going on, but I was hoping that party didn't realize as well. Obviously that they did because I didn't hear back from them. So this is all emotional torment. Having my daughter send me a text saying that she was hit. I don't know if she was actually hit or what was going on, and then deny me any investigation for it, letting me marinate and sit in multiple of these schemes. Then they changed another scheme was that she was missing. These are deliberate schemes. Then stepmom ducks and dodge me. Stepmom has called me and started an argument saying that I was calling fire trucks over there and I didn't even know where she lived. The shelter staff has lied on me, starting arguments. So this is bullying. It's government harassment, community harassment. So a multitude of people are committing crimes and causing emotional abuse for this man. I believe for this man. Here's another one. It makes no sense for you to be on fleek when your brain is on sleep and your chakras are weak. This is abuse, and they get away with it. You say Michael smoked crack and Denise beat the child with the mental part of the part of the belt, but they have custody and you don't. That doesn't make sense, and you're lying. That child has talked to CPS a bunch of times. You still don't have custody. You beat her, didn't you? You tried to blame Denise, but that didn't work. One thing about it, everything you do is being blocked because God won't allow it. Okay, so all of that was in 22 minutes, and if you look at this time frame, 33 minutes. Stop ranting like a Looney Tune. Jason isn't doing anything or controlling anyone, and these just kept coming in. Because you are that important. He set up 20 people in a store, just like there is a call center. It's laughable and sad at the same time that your mind has to go so far gone from reality, and you refuse to accept mental health or diagnosis. So I get this is their last resort to convince people that there's a mental illness so they can get away with putting me in isolation and abusing me in jail, and then the police having to come out and investigate the jail. And then not only that, it happened at the Frank Crowley. An inmate hit me, and they were covering for it. Staff was pretending because it was a requirement. They tried to blame me for it, and the inmates was like, no, that party hit her. She didn't do anything. The staff was trying to cover for it. So multiple inmates, and it's weird because there was a lot of chaos going on. And in jail also, I was there for criminal trespass. They put me in jail with hardened inmates that had assaults, murders, and different things like that. They didn't want me talking to people that were there for minimal things. So they put me in jail with hardened criminals or inmates that have assaults and dangerous things intentionally. So anyway, the inmate said no, she didn't do anything. So that didn't work. There was too many witnesses saying that she didn't do anything to initiate this fight or whatever, because they did it multiple different times. So then they took me out because it was forced. They had no other choice because other parties told them I didn't do anything. But they sabotaged the report because the inmate would interrupt me when I would talk about my corruption. She was like, ah! They were deliberately, there was certain inmates that were deliberate to keep the scheme and the corruption going on. So when I talked about my experience, they would start an argument and interrupt it. I tried to put that in the report because that's mysterious. That doesn't make sense for a completely random inmate to cover for the abuse I experienced. Then in addition to that, later hit me. They would not let me put that in the report. Multiple guards stood by me and they guarded and kind of coerced what I put in the report. And I tried to implement that this party seemed to be covering for crimes that I experienced. They would not let me put that in the report. And basically said that I could only talk about her hitting me. Not that she was covering up for crimes and the other amazing experiences that I experienced in jail that I believe were staged and set up. The tears, I just don't have a lot of them left. I cried and I cried and I panicked and panicked. Years of this chaos. And to get through it, I just have to reminisce. Like my daughter, she said some things which I won't repeat, but to get through it, I have to kind of forget about my past because that's not my reality now. My reality is I have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to saving for my life and getting rights and protecting my child. And it's still going on years. The deliberate schemes, the emotional abuse, the bullying, the harassment is still going on. Not one investigator has called me. I've ventured out to churches and drug out of one. Multiple different churches, including one now. They will not call me back regarding the corruption and any kind of assistance to get out of this chaos. Period. I don't care how big the church is, they still will not help. I have not been rendered any assistance. Period. To get out of the corruption or any kind of legal anything. The new church that I'm going to, they flat out said, I don't believe it. I believe that someone has enticed these churches to do this. They said that because it could be a possible lawsuit. And he basically blew me off knowing my life is in jeopardy. So I have to sit and marinate about these people. Supposedly, it's not like I'm just started to attend church. That knowing churches don't do that. They don't hear someone say that they believe that their life is in jeopardy and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. Sorry, that's too bad for you. But we can pray for you. We'll pray for you, but we won't render any kind of assistance, period, for you to get out of it. But we'll pray. So this is my experience, getting trapped on trains that panic. And, this would happen multiple times a day, and it's deliberate to cause a nervous breakdown. A lot of torment and emotional abuse these people have abused power and got away with. It needs to end.